Welcome back, boys and girls, to another lesson with Miss Brown. Today we are going to be learning how to write a summary. Okay, so for this lesson you are going to need the passage, writing a nonfiction summary, the mimic octopus. You're going to need the 5 W's chart. And you're going to need either 5 highlighters, 5 crayons, 5 markers. I need to invest in some more highlighters myself. I'm going to do that this weekend because we're going to be doing a lot more activities on pulling out important bits of information. Okay, so first off, what is a summary? So I asked this in class, and many of you had an idea, a general idea, but you weren't quite sure how to go about it. So a summary is just a shortened or condensed version of a longer passage, and you're really only pulling out the important bits of information, the important details, the important ideas. Okay, it's important to know how to summarize in your reading and your writing so you get a general gist or idea of what the whole thing is about. Okay, so one way that you can try to determine how to write a summary, how to get your brain thinking, how to get your brain organized, is to think of the 5 W's. Okay, so they can go in any order, although I like them in this order, in this organized that I found. So the 5 W's are who, what, where, when, and why. Okay, so you should have your sheet just like me. Okay, and these 5 words help us to think about and pull out these important bits of information. There are other ways that you can write a summary, but this is what we're going to do for our introduction. Okay, so what I asked you to do was I asked you to try reading the mimic octopus on your own. There are going to be some tricky words in here that you might not have seen before. Okay, that's okay. Do your best to try to decode the words. We've been working on all the spelling patterns, so the point of that was to help you learn how to break words down to syllables. So when you come across words you've never seen before, you have some tools in your belt to try to figure them out. So at this point, I want you to press me on pause, and I want you to try to read the mimic octopus on your own. And then when you unpause me, I'm going to read it with you. Okay, so you should have tried to read the mimic octopus on your own, and now we're going to read it together. Okay, ready? The mimic octopus. The chameleon, so that CH is actually silent, it's not cha, it's chameleon, is a creature that has the ability to change its appearance in the face of danger. Do you know a sea creature that can do the same thing? It's called the mimic octopus. And think about what that word mimic means. The mimic octopus can change its appearance. It can also change its mannerisms or the way it behaves. This creature is able to act like a different species. In fact, it can imitate 15 different species. The octopus changes its color and texture to match its surroundings. It is able to change the way it swims. A mimic octopus can look and act like sea snakes, seashells, stingrays, flounder, and jellyfish. An animal changes its skin color and texture to blend in with the environment. Many animals do this for protection. The mimic octopus is unique because it can act like many different animals. This helps it flee from predators. It helps the mimic octopus catch its prey. That's what you call an adaptation. Okay. Interesting. And with one of the groups, it made me think of the movie Finding Dory. And I think I didn't watch the whole thing. I think I was falling asleep when I was watching it with my children. But there was an octopus in that movie, and I guess he was kind of like a bad guy. And wherever he went, he always changed his appearance. So if he was standing next to a stove, he would make himself look like a stove. If he was standing next to a tree, he would make himself look like a tree. So based on that, what do you think the word mimic means? If you mimic something. Okay, so I hope you were able to say that if you mimic, it means that you copy something else. Okay, you're mimicking, you're copying it. All right, so now you're going to need your graphic organizer, and you are going to need one of your colors, your highlighter. Okay, so the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to go and highlight this word who. Okay, so whatever color you choose, I'm using pink. So just highlight that word who right on your 5 W's chart. Okay, you see I did it? And now what I want you to do is I want you to go back to the passage and find out who are we talking about. Who are we talking about? And whoever we're talking about, I want you to highlight it in whatever color you chose. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, boys and girls, so who did you highlight? Because I highlighted the mimic octopus. That's who we're talking about. We're talking about the mimic octopus. Okay, so on your 5W's chart, in the box that says who, I want you to write the mimic octopus. Okay, so Ms. Brown did it. You see that? Okay. Next, what? Okay, so what can the mimic octopus do? So now you're going to use a different color. If you have markers, make sure you draw a line underneath it, because if you go over it, it might blot it out where we can't really tell what it is. Okay, so orange is not too bad. I'm just going to go under it. Okay, so what? Now I'm going to go back to my passage, and you're going to do it as well. You're going to read through the passage again, just scan through it, and find out what does the mimic octopus do? What can it do? And just underline that or highlight it. Okay, so this is what I highlighted. Okay, and I'll just read it. So I put what can it do? Well, it can change its appearance, so that means how it looks, and it can change its mannerisms. Mannerisms is a big word for how it behaves. All right, so it changes how it looks, and it changes how it behaves. So now on my 5W's chart, I'm going to write that. So it can change its appearance, it can change its mannerisms. Now some of you might be saying, but Ms. Brown, they said that it can swim like a fish, like a sea snake, it can imitate 15 different species. Yes, it does give you lots of examples of how it can change its appearance and its mannerisms. Okay, so overall, these are the two things that it can do. It can change its appearance and its mannerisms. All right, get another color. So I'm going to get blue this time. Highlight the where. Okay, so highlight the where, different color. And this one's a little bit tricky because they don't really tell you, but see if you can find where this octopus lives. Okay, so I highlighted that little word right there. Can you see it in blue? My finger. So it says, do you know a sea creature that can do the same thing? But I highlighted the word sea because that's where he lives. He lives in the ocean. He lives in the sea. Okay, so on my 5W's chart, I'm going to write the word sea, S-E-A. All right, this next one for this passage is a little bit tricky, only because the when talks about the time period, okay? So today, yesterday, tomorrow, morning, noon, and night. Doesn't really say when he does these things, okay? But if you had to put down something about when you think this occurs, what would you say? So this one is a hard one to go back and find, like when, like what time period does he do it? But what would you say? When do you think he does this changing the appearance? So he might actually do it in the morning, he might do it at night. Okay, so whenever he needs to, he'll be doing these things. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one blank for this activity only because it doesn't really tell us the time period. Okay, and then the last one is why. So this response is definitely in the passage. Okay, so the mimic octopus changes appearance and his mannerisms. Why does he do these things? So choose another color. I'm going to choose a bright yellow highlighter. Now go back to the passage and find out why does he do these things? Why is he changing his appearance and the way he behaves? Okay, so I highlighted this bit at the bottom. Okay, so they talk about how animals change their skin color and texture to blend in, so camouflaging. They talk about protection, but specifically, I highlighted this part. This helps it flee from predators. It helps the mimic octopus catch its prey. So the reasons why it's doing all this changing, morphing, changing forms, is because it wants to escape. Do you know what a predator is? So if you have two animals, the predator is the animal that will eat the other animal. Okay, so it goes hunting for the other animal. So it changes to escape, to flee from predators, and also to catch its prey. Okay? All right, so last thing, under the why, I want you just to jot that last information down. Okay, there's one more word on here that's an important key term that we should kind of pay attention to. It says last word, adaptation. So I just want you just to draw a line under it so I can talk about it a little bit. All right, so an octopus, the mimic octopus changes its form, changes its appearance, changes how it behaves to escape from a creature that's trying to kill it and eat it, and also to be able to get food. So these features are actually helping it to survive. And that's what this word adaptation means. It means when animals kind of change or have to adjust how they are in the world to survive, okay? So if an animal's living in a climate that got colder, what do you think they might start to do to survive? They might have to grow some more fur. Or if an animal lived in a climate that suddenly got hotter, what do you think they would have to do? They might have to start shedding some fur, okay? So that's adaptation. When an animal changes its behavior or changes what it does, its appearance, to survive. Okay, so we have some important points here, some important details from the passage. And we don't have a lot of descriptions. We're not talking about how interesting it is. It's a very interesting creature, but we don't need that in our summary. We just need to stick to the facts, like stick to the point. I don't want to hear a long, drawn-out summary. Just stick to the point. Okay, so now we have to put all of this information into a summary. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to think about what could you say using these bits of information. If you want to stick an adaptation in there, you can as well. But I want you just to try to write maybe 2 sentences, maybe 3 if you want, summarizing the mimic octopus. Okay, so put me on pause. I'm going to write what I would have put, and then you can write in your summary box what you would have put. So this is the first time that we're doing this, okay? Just leave whatever you have so I can see it when you come back to school, just so I can see what you put and just to understand your thinking, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect. You're not getting a grade for it, but I just want to see what you're going to come up with, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to share with you my summary. Whatever you put, leave it, okay? Because I want to see what you were able to do on your own, okay? So this is what I came up with, all right? Okay, so my summary of the mimic octopus. So, the mimic octopus lives in the sea. It changes its appearance to escape predators and catch its prey. And I just wanted to add this word because this is an important word, so I think that we should know what it means. I think we should add it to our summary. This is called adaptation. It helps it survive. Okay? So, all right, that's it. And remember, this is just our intro to writing a summary. Okay, so we have to start somewhere, all right? So we need a way to organize our thoughts. So I am looking forward to seeing what you came up with. So when you come back to school, your summary should be here. So bring that back. Remember to do the other activities I asked you to do. And I will see you soon. Bye.